Now we're going to move on to saving ourselves energy. So the second example of a client that I'm working with is this guy is the operations director of a business. They are nearly achieving 10 times their expected goals at the moment. Their industry is absolutely just gone through the roof. They've got orders coming in left, right, and the center. They're not having to do any marketing to do that. Poor them, eh? You feel like you got your violin out for them. That sounds awful, but it's a quality problem to have. And of course, they want to absolutely maximize it because the situation they're in is only a certain amount of time before, whilst this particular industry is going to be riding this boom. So what we had to do is be able to manage an expanding team whilst reducing the amount of time spending managing. Give me a wave if you've got a team of more than 5 people working for you. Okay, so we're all working with fairly small teams. So you might have, if you've got a small team of sort of 5 people and you're working in an office, it's quite often that when I go to people's offices, the conversations via WhatsApp, email, phone calls, texts, they seem to just fly around at random. It looks like the sort of laser bolts flying around in a Star Wars movie. They're just coming at everybody from all directions. And that really takes up a lot of energy and a lot of time, and doesn't fit into the structure that we talked about in time. So what I suggest that people do is create a system for those communications so that you can get the most out of your team and you can control the conversations that you're having. So that management system consists of 5 things. So the first thing is at the end of every day, every person that's your direct report will do a daily list of the stuff that they're going to do tomorrow. If anyone wants templates for this, I have them, so make a note and we can make sure that you get those. Now, the management system, first step of the management system is daily lists at the end of the day. The reason we do it at the end of the day and not at the start of the next day is firstly to remove that emotional state of what I feel like doing today. Secondly, it's so that I know I can leave my work at home. I feel complete for the day and I can go home and be present with my family and be present in my evenings, that I'm not worrying that I've forgotten something. And thirdly, it's because my subconscious will work on those problems overnight and whilst I'm asleep, so that when I sit down at my desk the next day, my brain will have been working on that going forward. So that is a great way for people to be really focused on what they're going to do. I've got a couple of different templates for that kind of thing. So if you want them, make a note and let me know. So step 2 is on a Friday, they do a weekly plan of everything that they are going to do the following week. So again, they're structured on it. And if you've got a 90-day plan, a quarterly plan, that's where that'll come from. They'll just look at their 90-day plan and go, right, okay, I can plan that in. I'm going to do that on Tuesday. I'm going to do that on Wednesday. So step 4 is to step 3. Missed out step 3. A couple of confused faces there. Step 3 is on a Monday, you have a work in progress meeting. Now, when you first start these off, it'll take a little more time, but with practice, you'll get them quicker and quicker. And basically what you'll do is sit around with your direct reports and their weekly plans and go, okay, on Tuesday, Martin is going to do this task and he's going to need Angela to coordinate with him. So let's make sure that that happens in advance. So you're just planning your week together, what work in progress. And then step 4 is a one-to-one meeting on a Thursday, ideally. Now, the reason it's Thursday is because you've progressed mostly through the week, but you've still got time to recover it if you've not achieved all your stuff in that week. And the agenda for the meeting, it's called a lion meeting, Lion. That's the agenda for the meeting. L stands for last week. What happened last week? Did you achieve your targets? Did you do everything you meant to do? Your chance to feed back anything that you want to feed back to them, their chance to let you know what they're struggling on. I stands for issues. What issues have you got that are a problem for you right now, that are going to get in the way of you further implementing your stuff? O is opportunities. What opportunities have you got to make the business more effective, profitable, fun, easy to work in? And I would make a rule that I would never allow someone to come into their line meeting without at least one opportunity, no matter how big nor small. Even if it was as small as, I've realized that if we put the paper clips over here rather than over there, it stops us walking across the office to have to pick them up. Great, that's fine. No matter how big they're small, they must come with an opportunity, which means they must think about the meeting in advance. And if you don't hold them accountable to think about the meeting in advance, and prepare for the meeting, then the monkey's on your back, and the monkey should be on their back. They should be prepared for their line meeting every week. N stands for next week. What's coming up next week? What might you have a challenge with? Who do you need? You know, what help and support do you need to make sure that next week is a super productive, cool week? And step 5 on that, which also ties in with the operation system, is measurement. Finding things to measure them on. Because if you don't measure the performance of your team, you'll be based on feelings as to whether or not they're doing it. Have we got people here that like sport? Hands up if you're into sport in some way. Give me a hands up or a wave if you really like playing sport, but you would still enjoy it just as much if you didn't keep score. Just one. That's the thing. You see, human beings like to keep score. No one will go, you wouldn't pack football stadiums full of 40,000 people for a kickabout that was for fun if you weren't keeping score. And you will get the best out of your team if you keep score with them. So setting out clear targets for them to hit, whether it's number of sales calls or efficiency ratings or, you know, time to get back to customers, average recall time, any of those things, it's really important to set them out clear goals. And if you don't, then you'll just be based, when you come to your line meeting, it'll be based on feelings of whether or not they feel like they've done a good work, and they might fill you full of complete BS. And if you can't measure it, then you'll buy it. You go, okay, well, I've been working really hard, boss. Really hard I've been working. Oh, great, well done. So the next thing that we did with this guy is to create the accountability chart. And if you look to the right hand of the screen there, you'll see my delightful handwriting. That is a expertly crafted accountability chart. Looks like Leonardo da Vinci did it. And it's about breaking down the business into its component parts. It's about looking at the business and taking it all to pieces so that you can get each bit working by itself so that you don't have to. And I'm going to run quickly through those. And if anyone wants like a version of this, or even like a screenshot or anything like that to take away, just make a note of it and we can make sure that you get that. So finance and admin is the bottom right-hand box. So it's for the examples we've got there. We've got accounts payable, we've got accounts receivable, we've got office management. So that's ordering the toner and making sure the mobile phone contracts are up to date and the best price, and making sure we're paying for our electric and all that kind of stuff, and that we're on the best deal, and that the bins are being taken out and all that kind of stuff. Got payroll, got HR admin, recruitment, compliance, and that at the bottom that says creating management accounts and KPIs. I think this is an electrical contractor that we did this with. So we've got in operations, we've got job and man planning in operations. We've got procurement of stock and the management of stock. We've got job compliance and quality management. S&M, sales and marketing. We're estimating, lead generation, brand management, and sales. And you can see account management kind of sits between sales and marketing and operations, because quite often the person that makes a sale continues that relationship with the client to make sure that they're happy and they know how their job is proceeding and stuff. So those are the three main operating level things. And then above that, you've got integrator. And above that, you've got visionary. The important part of this is that we're not going on roles, we're going on, we're not going on people, we're going on roles. But the integrator would be more of a managing director thing, and the visionary would be more of a CEO thing. But that doesn't necessarily mean that those people do that. The reason we have an accountability chart is because businesses evolve around people, not roles. So you've got somebody in the office, you've got Janet in the office, and she does a bit of the accounts payable, and she does a bit of the accounts management, and she does this and she does that. And when she leaves or goes on holiday, nobody really knows what she does. And that's a problem if you want to scale a business. So once we have created this, then we can create an operations system, which is, again, another 5-step process. And it's about creating the operation system is based on the word has completely gone out of my head. Positional contract. There we go. A positional contract for each of these areas. So first thing that's important in the positional contract is to have the role defined. What's the activity that person who is taking on this area of responsibility? Secondly, what is the goal? What's the outcome that you want from that? So for accounts payable, you would say, make sure that we are paying all our invoices on time, and not before time, not after time. The outcome that you want from that is to maintain really good relationships with our suppliers so that we can rely on them to move forward. Step 3 is our friend again, KPIs. How are you going to measure how that works? Step 4 is the standards by which you expect that to be done. For example, for accounts receivable, that's when you're getting the money from the clients. It's important to get paid on time. If you didn't set out the standard for communication, you might have somebody who would be like a pit bull, upsetting all your clients, going, give us the money, because they've got a KPI of being paid on time, and they're rude to your customers, and that's no good. But you need to set that out. The same, you might have somebody who's too nice, and they're letting people off the hook. They go, oh yeah, we'll sort it out next week or something. And they go, oh, okay. So in the standards for that, you would say firm, friendly, and fair. And the last part is the operation system for that, or the process, which could be a flow chart, which could be a swim lanes chart. We're not going to have time to go into those today. So if you want some more information about how those work, just make a note and we'll make sure that gets covered off for you afterwards. But that really is the distinction that I want to make at that point for step 5 is a process is a way of doing something. It might be a 10-point checklist. It might be a flow chart. A system is a way of making sure that the process is followed. There's a real distinction there. And I've sat in boardrooms of people that they think they're really process driven because they've done ISO 9000 and they've been forced to write tons and tons of process documents, but nobody's following any of them, which is really frustrating. So a system can be as simple as setting a Siri reminder for 5 o'clock every Friday to make sure that process B has been covered. Now it's a system because I'm going to get reminded. Yeah, if the process is to have all the figures done for the week by Thursday, people that work with me know quite often during a coaching session, if they say they're going to do something by a certain time, I'll just go, hey Siri, remind me at 6 o'clock to make sure Angela's done the thing she said she was going to do. And now it's a system. I can forget all about it because it's infallible. Because my phone will remind me, and I'll go, oh, I've either got that or I haven't. Of course, there's more sophisticated systems that we can put in place, but that's the most basic. It's just setting reminders to make sure things have been done, so that the process has been followed. Or the part of the system might be a weekly meeting to go through all the projects to make sure that they are ticking all the boxes along the way. Now, once all that's in place, and by the way, this is a chunk of work. To put this through a business, a decent sized business, probably to get it all done and really working is probably a year's work. But when we get started, you get results like within a month. Because the reason this is about saving energy, in the example of the guy I was talking about, if we hadn't done this process, if we hadn't gone through this, he would be just chasing his tail the entire time. And he's got 2 young girls. He wanted to spend time with them too. He would have been absolutely chasing his tail. And we've got this in. Admittedly, it's a bit rough and ready at the moment because he's riding the wild stallion of a super growing business at the moment, and it will improve over time. But the system is in place, which means he's got clarity. And if you've got clarity and people understand what they're supposed to do, and you've got a way of making sure that they've done it, and you've got a way of seeing how well they've done it, now you can save yourself energy, and you've done it in a timely fashion. Does that make sense to everyone? It's a bit of a whistle-stop tour that was through an awful lot of stuff. So I'm going to offer you the opportunity later, so you'll be able to get further clarification if you need to. So next one, and I spent so long on that, my mouse has gone to sleep. Hang on, wake up, mouse. So saving yourself money.